into that administration than they were. Do we have a sense of like what's going on now in that regard?
I think it's not a perception that there was no policy agenda. It's a reality.
Right. Okay.
The Biden's policy team was almost infinitesimal. And there is a lot of jockeying for position. And this is the thing about a Larry Summers, because, you could come up with a bunch of names and credibly say that there's kind of a team of rivals situation happening around policy within the Biden campaign. And I'm even putting that separate from these task forces.
Right. This
thing that Biden and Sanders put together. It's not clear to me what impact that will have whatsoever. It's just very unclear what that means. What we know is that policy was being set through these daily briefings that Biden has with the economic team, and you can put a lot of names in there. Jared Bernstein is in the room. He was the vice president's economic policy advisor, and he's generally seen as someone on the left. And when the Obama administration wanted to put a token progressive in the economic team, they put it in Biden's office. So, I mean, just that's true. You have Heather Boucher, who's with the Washington Center of Equitable Growth. She's in the mix, progressive economist. Ben Harris, another somewhat progressive economist. But you also have Larry Summers, right? He's in the mix there, and some other people on his side, proteges of his, people like Natasha Sarin and a couple others. The difference is that it's not something where you line up, okay, there are three progressives and there are three, more moderates, and it's a 3 versus 3, and it's a level fight or even playing field. Larry Summers, what we know, is a consummate sort of bureaucratic infighter who was able to sort of work his way into not just the Clinton administration, but the Obama administration in a position where he knew how to put himself forward to charm or please powerful people and get his agenda through. That it's not an even fight, right? If Summers is in the mix. And that's why there's a lot of consternation around that, and why groups have said you got to get him out. So on the other hand, you have Ted Kaufman, who was a longtime chief of staff to Biden, and then became senator when Biden left in Delaware, and wasn't running again, so he didn't have to sort of prostrate himself upon special interests like banking interests, and he ended up fighting the banking industry.
He was the best guy in the Senate for, I don't know, I can't remember, 6 months or something like that on these issues.
Yeah. Yes, absolutely. And he is running the transition. So he is in charge of the presidential transition, which is a big hiring position. A lot of recommendations flow through that transition chair. I think it was Podesta in the Clinton administration. I'm not remembering who it was under Obama. But so that's a point on the other side of that. So there's a lot of contradictions there. Yeah. And Kaufman, by virtue of being, working for decades for Biden, has his trust in a way that Summers really doesn't. I mean, Summers is new to sort of Biden world. On the other hand, there are people in Biden world like Bruce Reed, who was the head of the Democratic Leadership Council back in the day. And Steve Ricchetti, who literally founded a lobbying firm for healthcare interests. And he's a longtime Biden guy, former chief of staff when he was vice president. So it's unclear from a personnel standpoint, and people on the outside are going to have to keep pushing. This example of Natasha Sarin and Social Security. Are you familiar with this? This happened this week.
She's pushing borrow 10 grand and pay it back later type of deal.
Yeah. So Sarin is a protege, a former student of Summers, co-authored some op-eds with Summers. And she put out this paper that said, well, one way that would be great without having to spend any money is you allow people to take 1% of their future Social Security earnings and use it now when they need it. So essentially robbing from Social Security for the future and depriving people of that of those benefits in the future.
It's like a Social Security tax cut, but worse in terms of what it does. Like it's like it cuts out the middleman.
It's like making Social Security a reverse mortgage.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous. So the White House sort of picked up on this because there was a separate proposal along the same exact lines from Hoover Institute and the American Enterprise Institute. And the White House started talking about this. And Biden put out a statement like, this is ridiculous. I completely reject robbing from Social Security. And then some of us made the obvious point that your advisor has an academic research paper, not like musing on Twitter, but like put together an academic paper suggesting this very thing. Well, by Tuesday, a day after Biden came out, Sarin put an op-ed in Bloomberg saying that she now has rethought her position. And she lied about it. She was saying, well, I realize that this is bad politics. And what I said was just that this would be cheaper than borrowing from banks, when that's not what she said. She said it would be cheaper than having to spend money as, out of the government. But the point of that is that pressure from the outside can work and move these people. And change, the dynamic in terms of personnel inside the Biden camp.
David Dayen, it is always a pleasure to talk to you. Folks can check out that piece, Dr. Biden or Mr. Jekyll. What is it?
Dr. Jekyll or Mr. Biden.
I mean, I think, look, people get it. It's the one with Jekyll and Biden in the headline. Over at the prospect.org. We'll put a link to that piece. But folks, when you're over there, do yourself a favor. Just go to prospect.org. Take a peruse around there. You will see an amazing array of stories that you're interested in. And then what you should do is subscribe and help an organization that is providing that type of content, particularly in this era. David Dayen, always a pleasure. Thanks so much for coming on.
All right. Thank you.
All right. Stay safe. David Dayen, ladies and gentlemen, David Dayen. In the meantime, do we have, I got to do something about that. I don't know what the heck is going on with my audio. I got to take that Skillshare audio class. In the meantime, do we have Matt Binder on the Zoom?
Yes, we do. Here he comes.
Can we bring Matt Binder in? Ladies and gentlemen, making his, he's been back, but every time he comes, it's sort of like a triumphant return. Wait, what's going on here? Why don't I hear that? Where the heck is, how come God, I am just tired of this.
Is it the computer?
No, I don't know what's going on with this. I'm trying to play my fanfare and it's not happening. Thank you. That is what I like to see, that kind of like professorial support. Ladies and gentlemen, Matt Binder, can we see Matt, or is that not gonna?
I'm coming right on right now. Let me, 1 second. There we go.
Why isn't my, out of the blue, this thing doesn't work now? Jeez, oh Pete, what the heck?
Civilization collapses around us.
Let me try this. Let's see if this one works. That doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make any sense. Whoa, Matt Binder. Where are you contacting us from, outer space?
Yeah, this is, I see you've never once watched the Doomed live stream.
Oh my God. No, I have. Well, I've seen it on Twitter, but I didn't really, what do you got going there? How do you have it all black behind you?
I'm just streaming, from the corner of my 1-bedroom apartment where there's 2 children and a cat. And the wall behind me isn't all that great.
I don't know.
But listen, it feels weird that I'm talking with you and I'm not in the office when I'm on the show. So I think I could fix that. Let me see. Pandemic be damned.
Oh, good. Oh, sweet.
There we go.
That's fantastic. Well done. Damn.
Well, it's like I'm there. It's like I'm there.
Why is it that Binder can figure this out, but Michael can't? Well,
I think you know the answer to that one.
That's not so hard of a question, actually.
Now, where did you get that image? Had you taken a picture of that image, or
I had taken a picture of this image either the last time or the time prior to that when I was on the show, and I was like, oh, let me take a picture of this backdrop with no one standing in front of it because it might come in handy in the future.
Nice. Well done. Well, we may have to put that to use going forward. So, what are you doing, Matt, now in this, is your kids going crazy or what?
Yeah, like it's harder for I have a 4-year-old, Ezra, and a 11-month-old now. She's almost going to be a year old this month, Enid. She doesn't know what's going on. The baby doesn't know what's going on. In fact, she's probably going to benefit from being around both me and her mom 24/7 when she grows up and have the extra time with us. But the 4-year-old who's turning 5 in July, I'm worried about him. I really am worried about him. I think this is the age where, going to school for him, he loved it. And it wasn't the learning. It was like, he can't do Zoom.
Socialization.
It's the socialization, yes. Without his friends to run around with. And it's not the same for these kids of this age to get on Zoom and just see each other because, you know what, they don't talk. They don't have conversation about what's happening. They interact and play superheroes or whatever they're into. They can't do that over Zoom or any other, webcam thing. So, he's getting really agitated. I can tell it's really, he just wants to watch TV. When he does go out, he doesn't want to go out, even though this was a kid who loved going out, never wanted to be indoors. I worry he's regressing, to be quite honest.
I am going through the same thing with Saul. It's a little bit different because he has that one, he's like on the tail end of that socialization era. So he has the same issue on FaceTime. Like I can FaceTime with his friends and they basically just like, look at my Lego. And the other one says, look at my Lego. And then they just turn towards their Legos and don't communicate at all because they don't know how to. Saul has the added sort of like the dilemma of having some consciousness of what of the coronavirus and some fear now of other people.
Right.
And
my kid he went out the first time he went out to go to the store with his mom, and he was wearing a mask and he noticed that everyone else was wearing a mask and there were less people out. He got really worried. And I think that's when he realized, he knows about the coronavirus. He calls it the new germ or something like that. But, that's when it really hit him. And I think that might've been the real push for him not to go. Because, now, it's getting nicer out. You don't congregate with people, but go to an open field in a park, spend some time, get some fresh air, some sunlight. He doesn't even really want to do that. And it's getting me worried about him.
Yeah, it's hard. And there's going to be the generations of kids. I mean, at different ages, it's going to impact them in different ways, obviously, but going forward. Yeah, well, I'm sorry about that. But you're able to do your show, able to do it with this great backdrop.
All right. You're very distracted by it. I think
it's awesome. It looks great. I'm so excited by that. I can't even tell you.
You know what? If this gets me on the show more often, then it was all worth it.
Exactly. Boom. Well, the other thing is that you've been a little bit busy dealing with you went on Turkish TV with Brandon Straka.
I was on with Brandon Straka.
We have this clip. Now we have the whole thing. It's long, but what's the best part? For me, the best part is where he's calling you. He's saying that you're calling him a murderer.
Absolutely, that is the best part. And I mean, on the show, I tried to be more diplomatic and said, I'm not calling you that, but I absolutely was calling him a murderer.
All right. Well, can we play that clip? Can we,
we have that.
Can we go to this is pretty funny. Now, let me just remind everybody who Brandon Straka is. He is, the founding member of walk away, which has been a resounding